Hi, we're back. It's another week has passed, and so Amazon has released its latest episode of its series, The Wheel of Time. This one is episode 6, called Eyes Without Pity, and we're here to talk about it with our non-book readers, Lady Catherine and G Mama. Hello, lady.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, puppet. Jumped right into Egwene being dragged like there was no resistance somehow, but she was dragged on her head.
So I guess the Soldom rules the demonic.
Yeah, and it appears that the Soldon does not have power, does not have the physical one power, but the demonic does. That's at least what I gathered, because if she ever used the power, it was through the bracelet, right? So it came through the collar to the bracelet. So they don't have the one power, but they have the power in the relationship through that collar, which makes a really interesting dynamic. I mean, they think the power is something that should be used to control. They even said something about it.
Is it like a shock collar?
I mean, it seemed like in a way, right? Because for whatever reason, once that's on, then they have to be controlled by what their Soldon does. So it just as we were saying, if they try and reach out or punch out, then the pain comes back to them. If they can't use anything as a weapon, or it gets pain. So this collar is fully controlling them.
So the Soldom, the Soldan is not have any power whatsoever. It's all in that little thing, because I think they've got to have some power to say, if you're going to think this is going to come to you. I mean, there has to be. I just can't see her being powerless.
Well, they said later in the episode, the collar is a hangrial, that something that is the same thing as the arches. It's tangrial, something that is made from the one power. So the collar itself, right? That's what the collar itself is magic, for lack of a better term.
But if they're using the one power as their power, I just don't see the one power I'm confused. I just am. I don't understand how what's going from the back of her into the Wonder Woman bracelet. And then when she was setting the tree on fire, she was, she had all of her power, but then Wonder Woman did a little bit too. So
they were working together, so it was her power going through, and they were working together.
But she still had
But it was all Egwene. It was all Egwene doing it. She was just giving her kind of telling her kind of what to do and how to feel it, and she did and listened, and so she thought they were all, buddy after that, but then she still wanted to use the water as a weapon. So girlfriend got pissed. She got pissed. Yeah. She did not like that.
Got pissed. She started kicking her pet.
She did. She was like all happy. She's like, oh, we're gonna be like a happy little family, and then she felt very betrayed, it seemed.
Well, as she's betraying her. But if she's still got the power, why doesn't she just, open a door, break down the wall?
Egwene?
Yeah.
Because she's collared, so she can't, like, the collar is not allowing her to do that.
But she has a collar on when she's flaring up the tree. So this other chick gives her permission. She even leaves the Wonder Woman bracelet in the room. So it's not like the Wonder Woman bracelet is far, so that the power is
but as soon as she went and reached for it, that like backfired on her too. I mean, I don't know. There's magic stuff going on with all of it, but it's not. I mean, she tried to do all sorts of things right? She even envisioned exactly what she was going to do and how she was going to like beat the crap out of her and win. And it's just not that device is not allowing her to have control over her own power. She could have control over it when they're working together, but she can't have control over it on her own. That's the whole dynamic relationship between these two. So, and I didn't realize it before, but there's always two of them, right? So the girl with the golden binky, right? There's always somebody behind them, like giving them the allowance of what it is that they can do, or even controlling what they should be doing.
It's almost choreographed. Yeah. They're like a team if they're working together well.
Which is what the whole tree thing was, right? Was them working together to do something very intentional. But it was not Egwene making this decision of like, here's what I want to do to use the power. It was the other one with the decision and giving her the instruction on what to do, and they succeeded doing it together.
Egwene didn't need her to do it, though. Egwene could have done it on her own.
Well, I guess that's the question of whether she has the power to channel when she is collared without the permission of the Saldom.
Right.
You would think that she would just blow off the door if she could, but it is kind of ill-defined as of now.
Okay.
What permission she has.
There was obviously a lot of Egwene and this whole relationship and what this collar is, and the number of Aes Sedai that are fighting against the Shan-Chen, trying to kind of get them out, and the number of Aes Sedai that seem to not be successful.
Well, we knew that a bunch had gone. They just hadn't heard back from them. And then we'll get to the end, but we'll see.
Right.
I guess after that was Rand.
In the dream still, right?
In Lanfear's dream, or in his own dream with Lanfear. Yes, exactly.
Do you think he can control her?
With those abs, maybe. Oh my gosh. Rand, you're a shepherd. Where did those things come from?
Those eyelashes.
Damn sheep.
This whole thing is a master class in manipulation. Every single little pairing is and I am not a master manipulator, so I was like, what? Why are they trying to do that? What is he doing? Why is he trying to do that? I mean, everyone, right? So Rand and Lanfear are trying to manipulate each other. Moraine's trying to manipulate, kind of both of them and get what she needs. Lanfear and Ishamael I don't trust anybody in any of these. I'm like, all are just working each other, and there's nothing that is at face value that we can really trust, like in any single relationship that was on the screen tonight.
The problem I had is last episode, I got really disappointed thinking, God, there's only 3 more episodes. How are they going to wrap this up? And this episode went nowhere near starting to wrap anything up. It kind of just laid more groundwork and more questions. Maybe everything's going to fling together quick, but
for me it did a couple things. I mean, we learned this whole new thing about everything we just said, the Sedan and the Damani and the Adam and all that. I mean, so that's all sort of, we got a glimpse of it, and then we learned a ton more. But I felt like there were other things that started kind of progressing a bit more, right? We saw Matt and Min. We saw Matt and Rand reunite. We learned more about, we learned a lot. We learned about like why Leandrin's doing what she's doing, why Min's doing what she's doing. And I mean, so I felt like there were a lot of things that kind of moved to the next step.
So do you think then that the golden binkies are captive?
Yes, I think they're Damani. So
because like when they were fighting, there was a golden binky, and then there was the soul dammer, and the soul dammer was like, puzzled up into a pretzel, but the binky did not say freedom and do something right.
She was hurt because she was getting hurt twice as much as the Soldan was.
I don't think she gets hurt unless she's the one doing it. No, does she?
She seemed like she was in pain.
Oh, I watched it quickly.
Yeah, I know it is that second watching is really helpful because there is a lot that is happening, and so absorbing all of it and talking about it in one watch is like, okay, so yeah, there's some things that I'm like, I'm not sure what they said. I need to kind of go back and see, but it's a natural. I mean, it's all kind of a natural like gut reaction too, without kind of like the digging deeper into it. So one thing when in the very first scene with Lanfear and Rand, he called her Lanfear, or not Lanfear, sorry, Lanfear. And she talked about names. She's like, oh, okay, that's, it's not Selena anymore. And she referenced something about being like the name you choose, referring to him as Luz Theron. So I didn't rewind it or whatever, but she talked about choosing names, right? And so that's just an interesting thing because we've learned that so many people have more than one name. One of the reasons why we get so dang confused because people are being called so many different things. But I mean, the Amerlin has a different name, and Ishamael has many names, and so she just referenced it being as, right, there's names you choose and names you're given. So there's something, there was just something that just kind of hit me as an interesting comment of.
Do you think that if he had just called her Selena, then she would have been as the innkeeper and not as Lanfear? You know what I mean? Are the names we're being called as to how we act? Are we living up to the reputation of that name, or are we who we are despite our name?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
I don't know.
She was dressed like Lanfear, not like the innkeeper.
She was,
but then later in the episode, she was dressed like the innkeeper again when she went to visit somebody in their dreams. We'll see when I remember. But
Nancy Sinatra was singing about her boots.
They're made for walking,
Those
and that's just what they do.
Made for walking, but not very far, because then your feet will hurt.
Yeah, but they're going to walk over you,
especially on that terrain,
especially on that rocky terrain. Yay!
Now,
so I was trying to figure out who Rand trusts, whether he's trusting Moraine or whether he's trusting Lanfear, right? Because he comes out of his dream, he's like, I need to ditch you. Why do you want me? Her there, right? So again, this manipulation of like he's trying to figure out trust.
Well, and we hear that the one stipulation that it seems that Lanfear has is to get away from Moraine.
That's what Rand says, right? Whether that's true or not. I mean, it probably is. It's probably what Lanfear wants. So it's just a matter of Rand has to figure out who he's going to trust.
I think his main goal is to get back with his buddy.
Yeah.
I think those are the people he trusts. Whether he should trust Matt or not. Perrin wasn't in this one, and I'm kind of bummed because I wanted to see Dredge and see what she did because I think she's awesome. See, and now they're both in the same thing. They're in Carneyland or they're in Folsom.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, Carneyland's like a day away from Folsom or an hour away.
Yeah.
I noticed when Dracula comes into the dream, he hasn't practiced well enough in the past 3 years. Because when he's talking to Min, he's like on an AOL dial-up computer.
He is Ishamael Headroom or whatever.
Yeah, like Max Headroom. Yeah, he's super glitchy.
Yeah, but I think he just hasn't got as strong as Selena.
Bad Wi-Fi.
I'm gonna forget.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, in Rand's dream there, Ishamael was there, and Lanfear pops up and just kind of like poofs him away. Poof. Oh, don't listen to him. Go, bye, Ishi. Poof. What's going on with that? Was that real?
I wasn't sure if I'm like, okay, so Ishamael is now in his dream and controlling, and then she showed up. So again, this is where I'm like, I don't know who to trust or what to trust, because was she still the one controlling the dream? Because when she was in Ishamael's dream, she looked like Rand, and then she changed into looking like her. So fantastic question. I do not know. I don't know if it was him or if it was her still manipulating the dream.
We know that his go-to move is to caress a face.
Right.
And that didn't happen here, so it makes me a little suspect.
I also think he wasn't glitchy in Rand's dream, but he was glitchy in Min's.
I don't think he was in it enough. I think he popped in. She's like, I got this under control. Get the fuck out, and you're gone. And she wanted to see what Rand wanted. What did you really want? She was thinking, it's gonna be me. But no, it was Egwene, and found out where she is and all of this stuff. But I think that it was he just popped in, and she said, no, I'm handling this. And this is my realm. Get out. And then when she realized that he was really into Egwene and forgot that she was there, then that's when they left.
Were you guys surprised at all that he picked Egwene to see?
No,
I wasn't.
Yeah. And she said, I'll give you the gift of the dream.
Yeah.
But
I did.
But
I
is
did
it like her, not his ability to control the dream, or her giving him this one dream? Do you know what I mean? Is she giving him the ability to do this, or is she just giving him this one dream? Because his dreams have been nightmares.
I think she was just giving. She was like, I can basically take you anywhere in this dream, because he had no control, and as soon as she wanted him out, they were gone. So she wasn't teaching him how to use it. I mean, I imagine he can eventually learn how to use it. It seems like something that is learned, right? Because Ishamael is getting better at it and is learning at it too. So it's something that can figure out.
Well, at least Forsaken people.
At least Forsaken.
It's always good to have a big blue friend like me.
You ain't never had a friend like.
Okay.
So this episode jumped around to a lot of different people throughout, right? So it was like we kept seeing kind of different people. We saw Matt and Min super briefly. I wasn't sure they were in Carhane, but I guess I figured it was that kind of seedy town that we saw Rand. But it was just super brief, just kind of showing them a bit on the street, and then bounced away from them too.
Right after that, because it went Min, Rand, and I put Where, and then I put Black Aja, because Black Aja was Min, and I put the Red Lady question mark, and then her son and all that stuff. But I mean, we still haven't gotten to, is the red chick the Black Aja? Because
no, I think we have. That's absolutely what they were talking about, is because it was Elaine and Nynaeve, and they were talking to the Yellow Aja, and they were talking about things, and they mentioned Leandrin, and she's like, well, what do you mean? Why her? And they're like, well, she's a dark friend. She brought us there. And the Yellow Aja was really taken aback. She's like, that can't be. And they're like, yeah, she broke all 3 oaths. And that equated in this Aja's mind. She said, it's the Black Aja. And right. So clearly the Black Aja is very dangerous. And she said, it's all of our sisters are in danger. So they specifically talked about Leandrin, what she did, and that was what happened with Cho Chang last episode as well, when they realized that Leandrin lied, that she's like, Black Aja, it exists. To me, Lady Catherine, that was, I mean, full on confirmation that Leandrin is Black Aja.
There's another HBIC, the Empress.
Right, we heard about the Empress today, and that was the first time, and she's the one that wants to take over the whole world, right? So all the other Shanshin that are there that are now kind of living it up, and they've got another leader who wants to take over the world. We don't know we haven't met her yet. I don't think. Maybe we have, but I don't know that we have. Maybe it's Min.
Now, well, Min doesn't seem very happy.
She's struggling. She's struggling, and she told Matt the truth.
She did.
Because she is a good friend, and that means she's not gonna. Right.
I don't think she's bad.
No, I don't think so either. And she's not gonna. Like, she had struck this whole deal, right? That she didn't want to have her visions anymore. So if she took Matt where she needed to take Matt, that Leandrin put her up to. So Leandrin, dark friend Black Aja, she sent her on her way. She thought she was doing something for an Aes Sedai. So Min basically did not sell her soul to the Dark One. She brought him there, but then she told him, so she's not gonna, she gets to keep her vision, or her vision power.
Now, do you think Matt is not gonna follow him?
He's not going with him, right? Because he didn't meet him at the gate, and
he was watching him.
He was watching him, so he made a very intentional decision to not go with him. Now, follow him is a different question, right? But he's afraid, right? Because she said, I saw you kill him with the dagger with the red stone, right? How does Min know about this dagger that was is so far the worst thing that has happened to Matt's life?
Now, she saw him stabbing him, and that's what she thinks the future is. But I don't know if you remember last season when she saw Rand. What was Rand doing?
He was holding a baby.
He was holding a baby. Mm-hmm. So is that because he's gonna have a baby, or does that go all the way back to when he was 3,000 years ago with the baby and the wife before the world broke apart? I don't know where the baby comes in. If it's a vision of what is who he is from the past, or if it's going to be, I don't know. I just thought that was.
Yeah, well, and we've talked about, I mean, we don't know a ton about her visions, because I don't know that, to your point, I don't know that we've seen any of her visions or that then saw the vision come true, right? Everything, she's seeing these visions, but then we're not seeing the payoff of them yet. I mean, I imagine she has, but so, and we had said before, does it mean that he's absolutely going to kill him? Can it it be avoided? Can it be so? But it scared her enough, and it scared Matt enough to not go with him. And they were like, that was what a lovely reunion, right? That was. They were so, I mean, so happy to just like be friends together, and they were like joking together, and you know, it was lovely having them together again for 20 seconds.
But he knew exactly where he was, losing at craps or poker.
He's a heartache. Oh, Matt's always a heartache guy. Rand spilled his guts and told Matt everything.
Mm-hmm.
From what it seems, he's like, "You're the fucking Dragon Reborn, bro. Let's go."
I thought that was so funny because he was like, "Okay, you see a Dragon Reborn," and he was like, "Oh, is that where we're at now?"
He's like, I gotta make sure you don't get a big head.
Yes, seriously, that's what a friend would say to another friend.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't
He's
understand.
I tried to take over the world. I didn't succeed. All of our friends think I'm dead now. Like, yeah, he's like, I gotta go check on a girl. I gotta go see about a girl.
I gotta go break a girl's heart.
Now, how is Rand standing there in the entrance of Carney, right? Waiting for Matt to meet him, but he misses the whole entourage of the seat lady and 15. He's waiting there in the entrance. I mean, how did they miss each other?
Yeah, it seems like that would have been a bit of a spectacle getting into the town. So could we talk about Loyal really quickly? Because he was only in it really quickly. So there was only, I think, one scene with Loyal, and I can't remember the other dude's name.
The Dothraki Lord.
The Dothraki Lord, yes.
The Dothraki Lord. So
and they were bringing charcuterie.
Right. It was an interesting, again, there was only one scene that they were in.
They looked great.
They looked great, but they're slaves or servants, right? I mean, I imagine they're slaves, but they're servants, right? They're bringing them their food. They're bringing them this. They're being used for their amusement and entertainment because she asked Loyal to sing. And so he said it was whatever tree singing. And so he sang to that tree, and then the tree was growing. So, and then everyone was getting really mesmerized and really in awe. And the girl's like, "Oh no, I got to put an end to this because it needs to be all about me, and we need to just keep making fun of this guy."
She's all about harsh and vibes, I think, big time.
Well, yeah. So it was interesting that, right? We learned a bit about her, a bit about them, this tree singing thing. That again, I imagine because nothing is just coincidental. So that this him helping trees grow, I think we're gonna see a bit more of that.
I think we did.
With the tree that she burned?
No, I think we did last season in one of those little snippets where he was the guy who lived with the trees and went on the boat and then went to a place where, because he was in the library, closest he could be to trees without being in the forest. So I think he's like a tree person.
Right,
That's where he came from. So I think that's what it's like his air that trees are his.
So that's why he hangs out with books, because they're trees, they're dead trees.
They're on paper.
I think so.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It sounded good to me.
No, that's right.
I think his family built the Dick and Balls. Didn't they?
I think they did.
They were carpenters.
Yeah. Well, so then the other part of that scene, though, they were talking. They're like, "What'd you find out? What'd you find out?" And there's curiosities that Sulroth has, and that's where the horn is. So Ingtar is all about, we need to get the horn, and Loyal's like, we need to get Egwene. So there's these two things. They know where both of them are. They're in the same place or palace where they are. So they're gonna figure out a way to try and get and save them both. But it was only one scene with both of them. It was fairly short, but it was like, let me flood you with like all sorts of different information.
But they also said that the horn isn't really being guarded, but Egwene is in the kennel.
Yes. Oh yeah, you said they call him the kennel.
Celine meets up with the red lady at her son's house.
Yes. And that's where then again she was dressed as Celine and not as Lanfear, right? Not sexy Lanfear. I guess sexy Lanfear is just for Rand. So,
wow.
What she said was, "You swore your oaths to the Dark Lord, not to the lieutenant."
Okay, because I'm writing
not to Ishamael, right? So that's what basically Lanfear is talking to Leandrin saying, okay, like Ishamael is not the guy that you should be like, you know, kowtowing to, you know. So she's basically she's a Forsaken, he's a Forsaken, like they're kind of all in this together. She also said
but do you think she's in it together, or she's trying to say no, this guy isn't really in charge, right? Rand should be, and I'm his HIB. So I mean,
well, I don't know that she's saying Rand should be,
because I think she's saying that he's the Dragon Reborn, and being
Dragon Reborn, but not the Dark One, not the same.
Isn't the dragon the Dark One?
I don't, maybe, but I didn't think so. We've had this debate before of like, are they the same? I don't think they are. But we did find out a little bit too of why Leandrin, right? The reason she went to the dark side essentially was to keep her son alive.
Yes.
Right.
Well, let's talk about that a tiny bit. So was this poor guy like just on his deathbed perpetually because he could not die because the Dark One like, sure, I won't kill him, and so this guy's just like for years?
That means 3,000 years. 3,000 because they've been locked up for 3,000. So that promise was over 3,000 years ago, and this guy's been
no. I don't think that it was 3,000 years ago that necessarily that they were. I don't think Leandrin had to make that oath 3,000 years ago. I mean, she's a dark friend now, so it's somebody now who's basically gone to the dark side. She didn't have to do it 3,000 years ago. Yeah, that was my kind of impression of it.
No, yeah, she's not that old.
Yeah, her son's been dying for a long time, right? She's trying to find all these medicines to help keep him comfortable and hasn't. So if her oath is for him to not die, yeah, but at what
cost?
I mean, at what cost? And at what and then but then so she made this oath, and that's what she was like getting out of the oath was that he would be alive, and then Lanfear just killed him, right? She sucked. It was like a Dementor deal, like she sucked his
the breath out of him. So everyone, it seems, it's a dark friend, needed something. Yeah. It's almost like they sold their soul for rock and roll.
What did they get?
Right, but it wasn't because they believed so much in what was going on. They just
needed something.
Were desperate and needed something. They didn't so much believe in the cause, but it was to get their.
We also learned, again, adding to the layers of Leandrin, that she was basically like sold into marriage when she was a young child, right? So she had clearly a horrible like upbringing, and whatever, at 11 or 12 was forced to marry and then had a child. So that seemed to be kind of the only good thing, right? She hates men. Go figure. Yeah. You're like probably raped when you're 11 or 12 years old, and anyway, so more layers to Leandrin.
So that also means that the reason for her to stick with the dark side is gone, and the reason for men to do what the dark side bids is gone too. So those two don't have to follow Dracula.
I agree, right? That she made this oath to get something that is now gone, but she has still broken all of her Aes Sedai oaths, right? She is one of the 14 Aes Sedai that the Amyrlin seat wants. So she's there now with. So there's going to be some big come to
Jesus moment.
Come to someone.
Szechuan?
What's her name again? Say Juan. What's her name? What's the Amyrlin's name?
Swan Shante?
Swan Sean. Everyone's got more than one name. I forget.
Okay, so who was quoting the blood rhyme?
That was Alana and the boys.
Okay, now are they there?
They are now. So when they were quoting, like when we first saw them, they were at a Forsaken temple, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just camp here. We're going," because I think they were lying to Lan, so it seemed like they were going back to the White Tower, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just camp here." And then he tried to escape, and they're like, "Don't." And that's when they started reading that. So they didn't know where he got that prophecy. So they accused him of being a dark friend.
Oh, okay.
They
So,
they
do you
yeah, they
think
thought he was.
do you think Maureen is stilled or stuck? Because it looked like the original was just stuck. She wasn't stilled.
She seems stuck and doesn't know, right? She doesn't know how to control it. And
Right.
Maureen does. So Maureen, I think, is stilled, where she knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for 100 years, or maybe not 100, but a long time. And
So she lost it, or he's just holding on to it, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
Her
It did
Pierre.
say I've been stilled. It said, she wrote in there, I've been stilled.
Right. But I didn't know she even knows what's going on, because she just knows she doesn't have it.
But that is a term that they use, right? They stilled Logain. I mean, and again, I don't know how you get it back, but they did this act of stilling him, which means essentially not allowing him to use the power anymore. And I don't know what the process of that is, but she has used the same term. They stilled him, and she's been stilled. So maybe it can mean a bunch of things. It can just mean that you just can't access the power anymore, whether it's permanent or not is a different.
Well, when they stilled the guy that had killed the people, it took a bunch of them, and it just sucked all out of them and all that stuff. With her, it was like that, you know.
Well,
whoosh.
and that's what she said, right? That's how easily it was done.
Powerful.
Right. So Lan, right. So he convinces them he's not a dark friend, but that Maureen's in danger. He's like, so he needs to find the Amerlin, because somehow she's going to help. Right. So we haven't seen her for a while. We're like, okay, is she a dark friend? Is she not? And then they're like, oh, she's in Camelin. Heard about that place a few times, but, and then all of a sudden, right. So in this episode, we see her, and then Anne Maureen was writing the letters to her. So she's here to now solve something, whether she's having like some tribunal, whether.
Let me ask you a question. We heard about a caravan, a procession to Camelin that was ambushed from Leandrin. Was this the same caravan that she was referring to?
I thought that was a lie, because they had said that the girls, right, were going to celebrate somebody's birthday. And then Leandrin was like, oh, that was ambush. So I just assumed that Leandrin was just totally lying so that they wouldn't go looking, or that was an excuse of why the girls weren't ever going to come back, or weren't going to come back from Camelin.
Right. But they never went there.
But they never even went there. So who knows what, to me, the ambush story was just a totally made up story.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But the Amerlin being then in that same town, I'm like, all right, well, why were you there? There seems to be only so many towns.
And we at an indeterminate distance away.
And yeah, we have no idea exactly.
They went to Camelin. Is that going to 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if they wanted to meet up in Folsom, do they need to leave last week, or could they leave this morning?
I'll be there by lunchtime. Make me some soup.
on those slow horses.
Make me some soup?
Yeah.
You see what I live with, Lady Catherine? This is G Mama, like, letting her true self out. She's like, make me soup.
You know what? You're damn fucking lucky too, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess I am.
You are.
Grace, chicken noodle or vegetable?
It did answer a few things, but it just didn't. I thought, it's gonna get going. It's gonna get going.
I felt like it did, though. I feel like I don't play the manipulation game, so I'm not like, there's a lot happening, but I'm still like, okay, what's the end game of? I mean, trying to find the horn. You gotta free Nynaeve, or Egwene. Nynaeve at some point's got to figure out how to use the power a little bit better. Like, what's the Amerlin doing? When's Maureen gonna get? I mean, so there's still kind of a whole bunch, of things that to be answered. But I did like that. So Nynaeve kind of bugs me, because she just like is this bullheaded and just can't use the power. I love Elaine, and they finally like kind of had this connection now too. And then the poor Aes Sedai sacrificed herself,
and her warder.
I
think that Mo was a little calmer this one, because last one she was like, no, we're gonna find them, and running into armies everywhere. And this one one she was like, okay,
yeah, she started off that way, and then yes, she settled down. She even figured out, right, how, like, so she's a wisdom, and I like that it was the yellow Aja kind of talking to her, because that's a healer, so they were kind of like, you know, talking the same language a little bit. And she just said, like, when you went to heal someone, you didn't think about it, you just felt it and you just did it. So that really helped her. And she I can't remember exactly what she said about the collar, but she said the collar needs to be healed. Like, they couldn't figure out what was going on with the collar because it wasn't complete. It's not complete until it's on somebody.
Nynaeve does not do anything subtly, including channeling. So when she channels, she's just like big explosion. She's like, oh, sorry about that, but it needs to be healed, and it needs to be on a woman to be healed.
So I have a question. They're talking about going to find the horn. Now the horn is supposed to be for the final countdown, right? The final battle. Okay, now we're on season 2, episode 6.
Okay. Yes.
I'm not thinking they need the horn this season. I'm thinking the horns can go a little, you know, they can wait off, get Egwene first. They're not going to need the horn for a couple more.
Probably not, but this season is supposedly all well. I'm now just right. It's all about the hunt, right? They've talked about the great hunt and the people like looking for the horn. And there was one episode where they seem to be looking for the horn, and every other episode the horn's just showing up in Padme Fane's arm. But now I'm wondering, is the great hunt not just about the horn? Is the great hunt, right? So is there something else they're hunting for? Is it something about getting them together, right? They now have all these other parts and pieces that they need to sort of find. So
okay, the great hunt. Are you talking about when Queen was offering all this money for the great hunt? That was for the horn, but it was just a way to get rid of all of the poppers and have them die in the wood and the blight and all of that stuff, so that they didn't have to pay for them anymore.
Right.
So I don't think.
But the season has been referred to as the Great Hunt, not just that in that one episode.
You sure it's an H? Just asking.
No, that reminds me of the World Series 1936. Guy was on third. The pitcher is a 2-2 count. He pitched it. The hitter laid down a great bunt. The great bunt.
See, it could have been a B. That's what I was saying. And I do like the end where we saw the chick who was saying, man, those boats keep getting lost. I'm going to go find them. And they gave her all of those rings. One was blue, one was, or obviously her yellow. There was a red one, I think. And I don't know what the other one, if there was another one. But that was the blue chick.
Right. So nothing's throwaway, because that comment, right? We saw that girl for a minute, and she made a comment to Maureen about it. And yeah, she's like, okay, I'm going to go check on my, maybe we saw her a little bit, and she was the blue sitter. Like I wasn't sure if the caption had it wrong, if she was a sister and it said sitter, but then she was the one on sitting. Like
she was sitting.
She was sitting. But on the like council or whatever. So right. So that's like, I don't know if it's the highest rank of the Aja, but
well, that's why Maureen got kicked out, because the blue sitter wanted her to sit in her spot so she could go find out what's going on. And Maureen said no. No. She talked to her girlfriend and said, "Kick me out, because I can't be stuck here." So
there was something else with Maureen, right? She was writing that letter, and she, right, her nephew tried to be nice to her. She totally blew him off. She was just being a bitch. She was a super bitch to her sister, saying, "I'm the older sister. I am actually the heir. You aren't." But then she talked about when their dad died, and that, you know, she's like, you know, my nephew always loved you, dad always loved you more, I did. So I was starting to wonder if whatever it was that happened 20 years ago, if that was if it involved her dad's passing and something that happened and whether she wasn't there, and if there was something in that changed her. Because then she also said, "You're our mother through and through."
I know.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
like,
man, what a burn! What a sick burn!
I'm like, ooh, she did not want to hear that.
Oh, I stagger.
and then guess what? Then she went and apologized to her nephew. She's like, "Oops, I got."
You're right, but I don't know. I'm so obsessed with finding out what made Maureen an icy cold bitch that I just want to get off of that and get back to the story, because she's just, she's bugging right now. Let's just, find out.
Her family seems kind of cool. I mean, her sister seems cool. Barthana seems cool. He makes good sandwiches. Actually, Barthanas's last name is Quizno.
That's dated, babe.
All right.
Jimmy. It could be Jimmy John. It could be
Jimmy John Barthanas.
Firehouse subs. I mean, if I had a younger sister try to kick me out of the house, I would build up.
You would totally drop nuts right there. You're like,
what? I would. Who the hell do you think you are? Even if I don't live there, I'd be like, fight me. Yeah,
this
I'm
is
older.
still my house.
I know. Danny's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Oh gosh.
But you know what I mean? If a younger sibling tried to kick me out, I would be like, the power play would come in real quick.
Right, and which it exactly did, right? And then, but then she sort of
then she guilted her.
Yeah, reminded her what a bitch she was.
That guilt
does, yeah. So there's a whole. There's another scene. One scene we saw with Logain that was kind of a big deal. Where
is hair loss a problem? Ask your doctor if Logain works for you.
Hair loss is not a problem for him, but hair greasiness, it can talk maybe some head and shoulders. Rand went to him and he was like, "Okay, teach me how to use it." And he was taught, like, there was a little bit of an argument, and he said to Logain, he's like, "You want to make a difference. Like, you thought you were the Dragonborn. You want to make a difference, so teach me." And it took 2 seconds. He didn't really teach him anything. He told him to do one thing, and then that dude starts it seemed like he was going to burn himself up. It was like this radioactive power, and that so much so that he barfed. And I know we've talked a lot about what the colors of the channels are, and this was a whole new color because it was like white with some black and then with some blue. It seemed like all there was no yellow. I didn't see any yellow gold in it, which is what I've seen with the girls, right? When the girls are doing it, and I think we saw with him before. So this one just looked a little bit different to me, and I don't know if it's because it was more powerful.
Speaking of the weaves, can Logain see what Rand is doing? It certainly seems like he's like, "Oh, hey, bro, tone it down, tone it down.
Well, you're gonna burn yourself up. Stop." So he knew.
And it looked like the light was on his face, lighting him up like a ring light.
Yeah, so he was emitting light.
But that was like a hot second of a scene, right? So that would, to me, I'm like, okay, that's a really big deal. And then he went off and saw Matt or whatever. After it was, then that was all over.
When he was doing that, all I could think of was when the one chick was stopping the horde of Trollocs, and all 5 of them started burning up. So that's what it made me think of. Because if he continued with that, he could have burned up like that.
Yeah. And I mean, he said that, and then he also said he kind of referenced how powerful it is. Like Logain realized kind of right off the bat, that's a lot going on right there.
What I had was something, but not this.
Well, Rand also says, "Teach me what you know, battle weaves." He uses that phrase. It's the first thing he asked for. Battle weave.
All I could think of was, teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Won't you teach me how to Dougie? Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie.
All right, you're so great, so great. At the end, Lan does say, "Hey, Rand, sorry, we can't let you're not arrested, but you're not free to leave. We are gonna need you're lawfully detained. Go ahead and sit on that curb, Ken." And with Alana and the other warders, they're like, "Yeah, you can't go anywhere." Did Matt see this? Do you think, or did Rand just like leave and go a couple blocks?
I don't know. Yeah, because Matt was watching Rand kind of through the little window. So I
have him see what?
That Lan stopped Rand and wasn't like Rand was ready to go to Falm and Lan stopped him and he's like, "Yeah, you can't go there."
Oh.
And okay. Rand's like, "I'm just going at least an hour away or maybe 2 weeks away."
I'll be right back or back next month.
Or not.
I was just there in a dream. I just was there.
I know, it's super easy to get there.
Yeah.
So Annette, like, we talked about the Empress a little bit, and that was just sort of kind of a passing comment. Oh, good Lord!
Let's go.
I was just channeling so much power that I was starting to light from the inside out.
Hey, Rand, off screen, please. Tone it down.
You're gonna burn up.
You're gonna burn up.
So yeah, we talked about this Empress that wants to control everything. But the other thing, I mean, so we heard about the Dragon Reborn like officially a couple times in this episode, right? So Lan, when he stopped the Amerlin, he's like, "The Dragon Reborn." Matt called Rand that. So it's like this sort of official, like this seems to be a pretty big deal. And Lan was looking for the Amerlin to tell her this. Like that's what they've been looking for a long time. So, and now she shows up in Camelin. Yeah. I don't know what that means that they're going to do. I don't know if like, is Rand in danger from the Aes Sedai? Like, do they want to, like, I don't think so. I mean, but do they want to like bring him in and like control him? Are they concerned, or are they like gonna make sure that he's or that he's okay, that he wins? Do they think that he is key? Moraine does, or
right? I think her does.
But do the rest of them?
Yeah,
right. So now that the Amerlin's there, is like what's gonna happen? And there's 14 Aes Sedai, so it's the Amerlin and 14 Aes Sedai, and why? Like, what is it? Oh, and so we saw. I gotta remember Cho Chang's name. Yasika, and Varen, and Leandrin.
Yasika, y'all.
Everyone needs, like, nobody understands Cho Chang, y'all, I don't think.
Just Google it. We always wrap up our shows with our patented leaf rating system. 1 through 5 leaves. 5 leaves is the best thing I've ever seen. 0 leaves is, the worst thing I've ever seen. How many leaves do you guys give this?
I liked this episode. I only saw it once, so everything is kind of this natural reaction, and I need to let a lot of it marinate. But I feel like there was a lot of jumping around, but a lot of progress made, or at least a lot of new questions, but I think some answers too. So all that said, I think I'm at a 4.
Okay, 4.0.
We watched the same show?
We did.
Wow. Okay, last week I gave it a 2 because I was really disheartened. So this time I'm going
2.5.
It's a little better. It's just they've got so much to do that it's stressing me. No, it really is, because I just want a completion, at least one of these stories. Mm-hmm. And to do it, it's going to be like crammed in. So that's why it's a 2.5, because I think they could have gotten more done in the show. The way they flashed to Matt and Rand, and the way they flashed to this, just briefly, they could have taken out the amount of times I saw her eyes reddening and answered a few more questions. I feel.
But her eyes got so red, Kathy.
They got so red.
You just like Perrin.
Yeah, I do.
Exactly.
I wanted to see what Dreads was going to do. She was badass.
Okay. All right. Well, we got 2 more episodes coming up. As they come out, we will react. Hopefully Ryan will be here, but if not, at least Lady Catherine and G Mama will be here. Give their raw impression as it is.
Wrong?
Go ahead and like
are wrong impressions?
Raw, R-A-W. You know, like WWE, the Monday night, you know, where they beat each other up, like that. Go ahead and leave comments and likes if you have any questions for the ladies or any suggestions. Go ahead and put it in the comment. They will answer your questions. Please keep your comments spoiler free, though. We're not here to answer questions for them. Okay, you guys, be cool.
The comments can be suggestions of what Lady Catherine wears as a costume for next episode. next time she's gonna have red contacts. Just have bloodshot eyes.
I actually have a black eyes thing in my mind right now, so don't even go there.
I can't wait to see your broken blood vessels in your eyeballs, Kat.
I'll get there.
Until next week, thanks for joining us. We love you, we're proud of you, and run for your lives because that is the way of the Leaf. Yay!
Bye.